gentlemen, if you would please turn your attention towards the screen.
No, Mom's gonna do the turkey. Yeah, Dad wants ambrosia, so I guess we gotta get those miniature marshmallows. And I'll do the crescent rolls, and you do the cranberry. You know I can't cook.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cost.
Double bacon cheeseburger is for a cop. Brother.
What's that all? You gonna spit it now?
No, I was just telling him that's what makes it good.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I have a car.
Well, I could him. Oh, yes, I did, bro. She said, yes, do you see me in the middle of a conversation? Don't interrupt. Rude. Welcome to King Burger, where we can do it your way, but don't get crazy. Number 6 with a cookies and cream milkshake. You sure you just don't want to Coke? Right? I gotta get the ice cream out, put some cookies all in it. I don't even know how to use that blender. They're gonna be pressing all these crazy buttons. No, you can have a Coke. Let me get number 6 with a large Coke. Next.
Don't spit in that cop's burger.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Gobble, gobble. Oh, bye-bye.
Hi, I'll have a number 3 with no cheese, no tomato, and no lettuce.
Is that anything else? I got a complicated order. No cheese, no tomato.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Excuse me, sir. You see me trying to put in my order? Don't interrupt. Rude. And no lettuce, that's it. What?
I changed my mind about the cheese.
Oh, now you want some cheese.
Yes.
Now you want some cheese? You see me put in my order, why you didn't say that in the first place?
I tried to.
No, sir, don't get loud with me, sir. Do not get loud with me. Oh, no. Security! Security. This will need to go. Need to go. Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, can I get a number 5 with a boneless, skinless chicken that is slightly seasoned?
No. Security! Security. Need to go. Need to go.
Wait, what?
Sir, she was trying to fight me, sir.
No, I wasn't. Cut. You.
See, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold it. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take it.
Chère mademoiselle, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you tonight. And now, we invite you to relax, just pull up a chair, as the dining room proudly presents your dinner. Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, sherry, and we provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvre. Why, we only live to serve. Try the gray stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. They can sing, they can dance. After all, this is France. And the dinner here is never second best. Come on and fold your menu, take a glance, and then you'll be our guest. We our guest, be our guest.
Howdy, y'all. First impressions. Almost. Security? here at the North Campus, and I just want to say that your ears and my ears are not the same shape or size. I have so much trouble with your microphone. I don't know what it is. First impressions, all right? Let's talk about first impressions for a second. A lot of these guys, this whole table over here, with the exception of Lisa. Lisa is in charge of keeping them in check over here, are from the Central Clemson campus. And their first impression, Emmanuel and Cynthia and Nicole were riding together, and they were late getting here because they got lost, because GPSs cannot find the North Campus because it takes you to Whitehall Elementary for some reason. I don't know why. It's Google's fault. It's not our fault. Google Maps messed it up. But they got here a little bit late. And when they pull up in the parking lot, guess what they see? An ambulance and a fire truck leaving. So their first impression of the North Campus was a tad bit traumatic. You don't get a second chance to make it on the first impression. That's why it's called first impression. You guys are all here because you're part of our first impression team. You're either, hopefully you are, and you're going to be a greeter, an usher, or you're on our safety team. Not security, safety. We can't say security because that's a bad word if you don't have all kinds of other stuff for insurance purposes, something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But for some reason or other, you're here because you're going to be a part of our first impressions team. It is, if not one of the most important parts of the church, but Freedom Center, our church, because within the first 10 minutes of someone pulling into the parking lot their first time at a church, they make their mind up. Most people make their mind up within the first 10 minutes whether or not they're going to come back to that church or not. Did you guys know that? So most of it, it takes a lot of pressure off of us because it's not all about the preaching. It's not all about the singing. But most of it has to do with those first people that they're greeted with, their first impressions, whether or not someone insults them within the first 10 minutes of getting there, or they make a good first impression. So you guys are on the first impressions team. You don't get a second chance at a first impression. Here are a few scriptures. Hebrews 13:2 says, "Do not forget to entertain strangers." Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you that. There's a two-sided. It's about the ring, Pastor Brad. Back that up. Back it up, Pastor. The two-sided page, not the one with staples in it. It has blanks. That's just to keep you awake. This is not going to take long. It will be painless. This is, I would say, about 2/3 of the people that are ushers and greeters at all of our campuses. I won't say I'm glad that they're not here, but I'm kind of glad they're not here because we wouldn't have enough table space for them if they were here. And there were seconds for people too if they were here. Hebrews 13:2 says, "Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing, some have unwittingly entertained angels." Colossians 3:23-24 says, "And whatever you do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ." And then 1 Peter 4:9 says, "Be hospitable to one another." Can y'all say those last two words with me? Without grumbling. I'm going to put that scripture up in my house. Oh, Crystal, you're still here. I was talking about the kids, baby, not you. I really am. Look, I'm so thankful for you guys that are here tonight because we can't be everywhere. As pastors, we can't be everywhere. And if people did, if they made their choice about where they were going to go to church off of us, then it would just be us. I don't know. I mean, people fall in love with you guys because that's what Freedom Center, we're a family. And that is our theme, is welcome home. We'll talk about that again in a second. But welcome home is our theme. Stanley's not here, is he? Can I use Stanley? Yeah. Stanley and them were supposed to, they're not here. But Stanley, he was in the video for Easter, if you guys remember that. It told part of his story in that video. But Stanley said he came to the South Campus, and he walked in the South Campus. And at the South Campus, the way it is, if you haven't been there before, there's a wall right there when you walk in. And we've got what we have on the walls here and at the Central Clemson Campus. But it's right at the front doors. It says, "Welcome Home." And Stanley said when he walked in, he saw "Welcome Home." He said he knew that was the place that he was supposed to call home, was because he saw that "Welcome Home." So that's our theme, is welcome home, because that's what we are. We're a family. But you guys you're so important. And what we want to do is we want to take a team mentality to everything that we do. So you guys that are on the safety team, yes, you're on the safety team there to keep us safe. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But also, you're there just to be nice to people and smile at them. You guys that are ushers, yes, you take up the offering. But that's not all that you do, right? We're in this together. If you're not on a schedule as a greeter or an usher or a safety team, even though you're not on the schedule, doesn't mean you're not on duty. All right? So anytime, if all of us, all the people that are here at all of our campuses, acted like greeters and ushers, and if we need to, safety, I guess. But anyway, if we're ushers and we're greeters, even when we're just sitting there, then imagine the kind of impact and first impressions that we can have on people. And I'm not talking about being fake, because people know that, when you're just being fake, you're just being nice because the pastor made you be nice. Not that. We're being nice because that's going to be our approach. And so what we're going to talk about is taking this seriously, viewing it as a ministry. Tonight, we want to talk about overall, all of us, what our approach is, and then just 3 aspects of our First Impressions ministry. All right, so you guys with me?
Yeah.
You sure? Yeah. It won't take long. Okay, I'll just make sure. Rusty is still with us. He didn't even leave.
Hey, next time y'all wait 30 minutes before you call.
He said, next time wait 30 minutes. Wait 30 minutes. Rusty said they tried to take him, and he said, no, I've got something important that I need to do. I am not getting in that ambulance. I understand. First of all, we want to talk about our approach. We had a little a clip from Disney a while ago. This is our approach. All right, we talked about Chick-fil-A before, but we want to be better than Disney and friendlier than Chick-fil-A. Have any of you guys ever been to Disney World before? Yes. Raise your hand if you've been to Disney World. All right, Crystal loves Disney It's her favorite place on earth. She loves Disney World. But we went for our anniversary, it was our 15th anniversary, and we went without, I'm going to be honest, we tried to lie to the kids. We did everything that we could to just tell them that we didn't want them to know that we were going to Disney. But they found out. But it was worth it, because I got to take Crystal to Disney, and it was just us two without kids. So we ran around Disney, and we were having fun. We had been there about an hour. She was having a great time. We saw the castle. We rode a few things. We walked around. But you know what made that day the best day, in her words, I'm going to quote Crystal, the best day ever. We went into a store. We walk into one of these Disney stores, and we're looking around thinking, should we buy the kids something or not? Are we going to try and keep this lie up, or we're just going to break down and buy them something and tell them, hey, we're sorry we went to Disney. Here's a stuffed animal for you. We're trying to make our mind up about that, and this really nice guy, this one of the Imagineers or whatever it is that they call him now at Disney World, he comes up, introduces himself to us, just makes small talk with us. Well, in talking to him, he finds out that it's our anniversary. And I think that day was our anniversary. Yeah, it was our anniversary. We were at Disney World on our anniversary. And so he found out it was our anniversary. He said, oh, I'll be right back. You guys just stay right there for 1 second. He disappeared for a few minutes, and he came back, and he brought back these little plastic pins that said, it's our anniversary. Those things cost Disney World 75 cents a piece, probably. But we pinned our little pins on, and we kept on walking around Disney World. From then on out, every single person, well, even strangers that didn't work at Disney, but if they worked at Disney, it didn't matter if they were one of those people dressed up as stuffed animals and they weren't supposed to talk. They would tell us, happy anniversary. There would be a guy, I am not exaggerating, there was a guy sweeping his little heart out, cleaning up trash. He looked up and saw us and saw our pins. Happy anniversary! I went in the bathroom. There's somebody cleaning up the bathroom. I'm not lying. Go in the bathroom. There's a guy in there cleaning up the bathroom. He looks up. He sees my little pin on. Happy anniversary! We felt so special. Everywhere that we went, we want to be better than Disney. All right, we want to make people feel like that when they come to church. Wouldn't it be great to feel like that when you come to church? That's what we want people to feel. Chick-fil-A. You guys love Chick-fil-A? If you don't like Chick-fil-A, don't say anything. Most people like Chick-fil-A because their chicken sandwiches are good. They invented them. Because their lemonade got Crystal through 3 pregnancies. And their ice cream tastes like snow cream. It tastes like ice cream you make out of the snow. That sounds great. But when, yeah, they close on Sundays, but when I go into Chick-fil-A, it's not like, if you work at Burger King, I'm sorry, okay? Most times, you go through the drive-thru, let's say Burger King, if I say thank you to somebody at Burger King, you know what I get back? Maybe you're welcome, but they shouldn't tell me you're welcome.
they should.
I just gave them my money. All right? I go to Chick-fil-A, and I will say thank you probably 50 times before I leave Chick-fil-A. You can ask Crystal. You know why? Because I love hearing them say, my pleasure. I'll say thank you, they'll say, my pleasure. Every time they hand me something, thank you, my pleasure. I try and make them mad, but they won't get mad because they work at Chick-fil-A. There's something different about going in there. They say thank you, they're polite, they're nice, and they say my pleasure. That is a competitive advantage for Chick-fil-A. You know what a competitive advantage is? That's something that they do better than everybody else. So we want to be better than Disney. We want to be friendlier than Chick-fil-A. We want to go beyond hello. Hey, how you doing? Wait, I got one right here. Hey, how you doing? Here's your bulletin.
Kathy.
What's the bulletin? Y'all don't point fingers at her, right? That was wrong. You North Campus people. But you know, we want to go beyond hello. Here's you a bulletin. We'll be better than Disney, friendlier than Chick-fil-A. Our request is that all of us view this as more than just a station, more than a job, more than an assignment, but what it really is, a ministry. Because if somebody's making their mind up, we're talking about eternal choices, right? If somebody's making their mind up within 10 minutes, whether or not they're going to come back to a church, that might be the only chance that anybody gets at them. They might have woke up that morning and said, you know what? I'm going to give church a chance one more time. Because more people have been hurt in churches than anything else, really. There are people that have been hurt in churches, and they wake up that morning and they say, you know what? I'm going to give church one more try. I work with this cool guy named Chris, and Chris told me that I need to come to church here. That's where I'm going, because this church is different. They won't treat you like that. We only get one chance at a first impression, and it does have eternal consequences. That was almost a mess up there. Eternal consequences. It's really important. Our theme is welcome home, and we want to go out of our way to do whatever we can, especially for newcomers. We want to treat everybody nice. Lori, Kathy. We want to treat each other nice, but especially newcomers, right? Because they're the ones that, hey, we're family, we're here. They're the ones that are searching for a home, need a place to go. So, if nothing else, we operate by the golden rule. You guys that were in Royal Rangers, you remember the golden rule? Everybody remember the golden rule? For whatsoever you have been doing, you do even also to them. That's the King James Version. So whatever you want people to do to you, do to them. And then also Thumper Mama's rule. If you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all. All right, we'll remember that too. Okay, 3 areas. See, look, we're a fourth of the way done. You guys okay? Yeah. But Pastor Phil's going to come talk to you when I get done, so don't get too comfortable. It's almost, look, y'all don't have to worry about that because it's almost his bedtime. Hey, if nothing else, it's great getting together and eat some pasta with you guys. 3 areas that we're going to talk about. These are really easy. The first one is before the door. Here's what we're going to ask everybody to do. Now look, you guys that have been greeting and ushering and all that stuff, you've been doing a great job. We just want to do everything better. Better than Disney, friendlier than Chick-fil-A. And when we get done, don't you forget everything we talked about and go back to doing it exactly how you used to. Because I will cut you. Have y'all ever seen Mike Quigley before? Raise your hand if you've seen that before. So I just introduced all kinds of people to Mike Quigley. Wow. That's not even the whole thing. Some of us have lost brain cells because we just watched that. We're not smarter for watching Mike Quigley. I apologize. Before the door, we'll have a checklist for everybody. That's one thing at the Central Campus. Like Pat, he's great. Pat can't be here tonight. That's one of the guys I'd love for you guys that haven't been to the Central Campus to meet. Pat's a real tall and nice looking. He looks like, I always tease him. I say, you look like a mixture between Eddie Murphy, Will Smith, with a little sprinkle of Mel Gibson in there. He's a really nice guy. He's got the gift of hospitality. He's the front door man at the Clemson campus. We have one at every campus like that. I'm not going to start naming all you guys, but Pat's not here, so I can talk about him. But Pat, he's good about having, when he's not there, he's got a list made out of all the stuff that he does. So that if somebody's making the coffee and doing all that stuff, all they got to do is go look at his little list. So I said, that's a great idea. So from now on, just for the ushers, for the greeters, for everybody, we'll have little checklists at each one that you can just kind of go through, and it gives you an idea. So that way you don't even have to think. Because you guys at the 8:45 service at the South Campus, it's 8:45 in the morning. Nobody wants to think that early in the morning anyway, right? Well, some of us wake up at 5 o'clock. That's because we go to bed at 7:30. We'll have these checklists. One of the things we're going to ask everybody to do is if you can get there 30 minutes early, one of the most important things we want you to start doing together is, I know at the South Campus, Pastor Brad's been great about doing it with some of the ushers, but we want all the greeters, we want all the ushers to get together and have a huddle. And in the huddle, all you're going to do is, main thing is pray together. We might have some stuff that we need to tell you about that day. Pastor Phil may have some kind of trinkets. Maybe he's giving out lighters for everybody to set the world on fire. Because that's what the message is about. Whatever the message is about, he's got something. We'll tell you about that in the huddle, or the team leader will. I'll tell you about that in the huddle. But the main thing is that we'll get together and we'll pray together. Because, again, you never know what's going to come through the doors. Amen. And we need to be prepared for that. I'm not going to chase too many rabbits, but Jeremy was talking about camp. They had a little girl in their cabin that they thought was demon possessed. That came to church camp, and I don't know what all happened with her, but you never know what's going to happen, what's going to come through those doors, and we need to be prepared for it spiritually above all else, because it is that important what you guys are doing. Smile, everybody, smile. We forget what our faces look like when we're doing worship and when we're preaching. You guys forget what your faces look like sometimes. What I'm thinking, you know what? When I get into worship, I make some ugly faces, all right? Crystal tells me about them all the time. So you're going to have to quit making that face. Honey, maybe put a paper bag on your head because you just look ugly when you do it. We forget what our faces look like sometimes. Smile. Especially if you have to crank it up there. Smile when people come in. Show that tooth off that you got. Let everybody see it. Be polite. Now listen, this goes without saying, but be careful. We don't think about what we say sometimes to people. You guys, I know Tom and I were talking about safety stuff, but with anybody, even with bouncers, you guys, have you ever seen Patrick Swayze before? He's gone now. Patrick Swayze had bouncer rules when he played a bouncer. The number one rule was be nice. Even bouncers are nice, right? So we should be nice, be polite. If somebody comes in with a 4-foot-tall mohawk, their head shaved on the side, one eyebrow dyed purple, one eyebrow dyed green, holes, they don't even have bottoms to their pants because the holes are so big. You know, they step through the holes. The first thing we should say, the first thing we should not do is say, "What happened to your hands?" Or look at them like a dog does when they're confused. Because I do that to people sometimes. Y'all know what a dog looks like when they're confused? The dogs kind of turn their head to the side like this. Look at it. Be prepared for anything. If somebody comes in with a 4-foot-tall mohawk to the 8:45 service, don't do this. Don't get your wallet out and hand them a card and say, "Hey, my sister-in-law's Casey Mize, she's a cosmetologist. She would love to see you." Be polite. Think about thumpers, mama. If you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. That goes without saying, but be careful what you say because, again, it's first impressions. It's more than hello. If you go into a restaurant, say you go into Judge Crab Shack, or we were at the beach and we went to the other crab place, or Krabby Mike's, your server comes up to you, the first thing that server says a lot of times in big restaurants where they're trained right, they'll say, "Hey, is this your first time with us?" Right? And if you say, "Yes, it is," then automatically they'll start answering questions that they think most people want to know. If you find out that somebody is a newcomer, it's usually easy to spot them because they look like this when they get out of the car. Because they heard we're Pentecostal. You see them sitting down in the seat, and they automatically check on the seat for a box with snakes in it. But you know, newcomers, you know what newcomers look like. You can usually tell. But when you find out somebody is a newcomer, let's go over the 3 main questions that any new person has. Where are the bathrooms at? Is the first question. Where are the bathrooms? The second question, where's the coffee? I don't need a reason to leave service in the middle of service so I can go to the bathroom. Where's the coffee? And then the third one, if they have kids, what do I do with these wild children that I want to escape from for a little while and go to church? Those are the three main questions most people have. So, when you find out somebody's a newcomer, this is what we're going to ask, all right? Never point. Sydney was talking about the hospital. You guys that work for AMED. At AMED, you know how big the campuses are at AMED? My mother-in-law is a guest relations person there. They're not allowed to point and tell people where to go at AMED. As big as it is, if they say, I'm trying to find the cancer, whatever, they're supposed to walk them from where they are to where they're going. So, hopefully we have plenty of greeters, we have plenty of ushers. If you can't leave where you are, find somebody, but don't, that's one thing, Pat's not here so I can pick on him. Pat will take you on a grand tour when you come to the class. He will, won't he? Dude will take you on the $5 tour, and if you ask for it, he'll take you on the $10 tour. So don't point, never point anywhere, because at the South Campus, you come in the front door, it's bigger than the other two campuses. So you come in the front door at the South Campus, somebody wants to know where the bathrooms are, and this, I've done this before too, I'm guilty of it. You go through those glass doors right there, go all the way down to the hall, hang a left. When you see the water fountain, don't go in that bathroom, that's the women's bathroom. You go a little bit farther, and that's the men's bathroom right there on the left. And people are not good with directions. I know this because some people got lost on their way here, and I gave them directions. People are not good with directions. Never point, just go the extra mile and take them where they're going. If they have kids, Miss Janelle would love at the South Campus for you to take them and show them where to sign in at so that they don't just let their kids go and they're roaming around Holman Park or they're roaming around Blankley Street or they're running down Central and they're meeting Dabo down at Clemson because they found their way all the way down to the university from the church because nobody showed them where to go. Never point, always take them where to go. Take them around yourself and introduce them to someone who can if you can't do it. Curb greeters, we're going to have curb greeters. I love curb greeters. You know why I love curb greeters? I was a curb greeter today. You guys get that? That's somebody in the parking lot. Because, here's my thinking. All right, y'all still with me? Y'all hang with me, y'all start a little sleepy. The apostate's putting me to sleep. Look, here's my thinking. We got a 10-minute window. According to everything I've read, we got a 10-minute window of a first impression, a 10-minute window where people are making their mind up. Why waste those however many steps it is from their car to the front door? Why not have somebody out there? And if it's raining, the curb greeters hopefully are going to be young at the Central Campus. You guys that are in college, it's all you. Yeah. It's all you. We're going to have umbrellas. Crystal wants rain boots, and she said, I'll do the curb thing if it's raining if you give me some rain boots and a really nice poncho. That's all we need. That's all we need is somebody out there looking like the hungry fisherman. Looking like the hungry fisherman. We'll have umbrellas, but why waste that time? We'll have curb greeters. Never point. Build rapport with people. I sold for a living. My dad sold for a living for a long time. We're selling Jesus now. But when you sell, if you've ever sold before, worked on commission, sold anything, the main thing you do is build rapport with somebody to sell them something. So that person begins to trust you. They feel like they get to know you. And that's what we want you to do because people need to make friends. Because if we can get them to come back a second time, then they're much more likely to stay. You get them to come back a third time, and you got it. All right? Okay. Build rapport with people, ask genuine questions, answer all of their questions. Take the time to ask, hey, do you have any questions about anything? If they do, answer their questions. If you don't know the answer to their question, find somebody who does. Bathroom, coffee, kids. From now on at every campus, we got the curb greeters, I already said that. We're going to have one usher just to stand outside and open the door like Pastor Brad was doing a while ago. And all you got to say when you open the door, you can say whatever you want to, but everybody, hopefully, at some point or other, works in welcome home. All right, so Pastor Brad was out there. That was his job, smiling, those pretty teeth, open the door, saying welcome home. All right, so that's before the door. We're halfway done. Maybe more than halfway done. Take a deep breath. inside the door. Greeters that are inside the doors, you're the primary host. So if you're a greeter, you're inside the door, you're going to be the one mostly that's going to take people around, show them where to go, be nice to them, more than just hand them the bulletin. Take them around, show them. The main thing that we want to do is, two main things we want to do is, first of all, if they have children. If you've never spoken in front of people before, I was a youth pastor for a long time, so I'm pretty good with distractions. Like, I would have kids shooting stuff at each other and all that, and so I could just walk over and smack somebody on the back of the head, and then I could just keep preaching at the same time. I was pretty good with distraction. But it is hard to stand up here, to concentrate on, you've studied and you've studied and you've studied, yes, you know what you're preaching on, but you're still preaching. You still got to keep a clear thought in your head. It is really hard to do that when somebody is in the middle of the audience screaming their lungs out, or when there's a kid that his mama has a set of keys like mine, and they're like, here, just play with these. This is the loudest thing that I own. Here, play with this. And then, that's not even thinking of, that's just me being selfish and thinking about me preaching with the baby doing all that, or the kid doing all that, or the kid that we had one time that snuck out at the South Campus, and they were poking their heads up from behind the baptismal pool while they had Was anybody else in there for that? Any of y'all in there? All right, y'all two are in there. Nobody else is in there for that? That may have been Wednesday night. I don't know. He's up there preaching. I was sitting in the audience, and all of a sudden I see this little head poke up. It was really hard for me and my adult ADD to pay attention to what my dad was saying when there were little puppet heads popping up from behind the baptismal pool, looking around. I'm just glad they didn't figure out how to fill it up. If somebody has kids, take them, show them where the nursery is. Show them where their kids go. Some people are not going to leave their kids. Some people are just whatever. I'm not going to say a word because I might offend you, but you might be like that. They're not going to leave their kids. I left my kids any chance I got. I don't know what people like that are thinking. If I could get rid of them for 10 minutes, Jerry, I'm sorry, she's in here. Baby, put your earbuds on. Cover your earbuds. Hey, if we could get rid of them for 5 minutes, y'all know Gavin's back there. If we could get rid of him for an hour or two, we'd get rid of him for an hour or two. Take them, show them. Some people are not going to leave their kids. If they just will not do it, then just be as clear as you can, again, being nice and polite, and showing them where they can, well, hey, I understand you want to keep them with you. If they start getting loud, if they don't want to sit in church, if you just want to take them out, you can take them outside right here. Whatever campuses are different. At this campus, you can stand outside the doors right there. We got little glass windows you can look through and watch from out there if they get real loud. Show them where the nursery is. You're welcome to take them into the nursery and sit in there with them and then see if they'll stay after that. But just make clear where they can go so that they don't sit there with the baby screaming. Because ushers, you guys that are here, in the middle of service, they start pitching a fit, and that's your job to go, and nobody wants to do that. Walk up to somebody and say, hey, we got a nursery. It's a lot easier to do that before the service than it is in the middle of the service. So if they got kids, take them, emphasize where to go. Introduce people to as many people as possible, and always make yourself available for questions. So try and make friends for people. Take them. If you talk to people, you find out something about them. I find out that they're a builder. Well, hey, this is Jim over here. Jim can build anything. This is Stan. Stan comes up with crazy ideas and builds stuff. It's amazing. You would love to meet him. This is Stan. Introduce them to people, because the more connections that people make, the more likely they are to stay and the better first impression that they have. Get their information. Get their information. Please, I am begging you, get their information. If you're on the safety team and you have to tackle somebody and drag them out before the police take them away, get their information. All right? When they get out of jail and they parole or whatever, we want them to come back. Get their information. Oh, can we all say it together? Ready? Get their information. I'm going to tell you how I do it. This is what I do. This is just Jeremy's way. You can do it however you want to. We have a really nice coffee cup that we give away to people. We have a bag with other stuff in it. swap them that. For if they don't give you your information, then they don't get a coffee cup. This is what I do. I say, hey, it's your first time here, blah, 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 talk to them for a little while. I say, hey, can you do me a favor? It's on the bulletin. Where's my bulletin? Okay, there it is. There's a connection card. Show them the connection card. If you don't mind, will you please, my pastor is going to kill me if I do not get, no, don't tell them that. Say, could you please fill this out for me? Do that. I'm going to run over here. I got something I want to give you. I'll swap it to you for that connection card. Fill it out. That's what I do. I say, hey, fill that out. I'll be right back with your gift. I go get the coffee cup. I bring it back to them. I take their connection card. I do like this. Okay, here's your coffee mug. And I hold this hand out like this. All right? Get their information, please. Personally have them fill out the connection card on the bulletin, swap it for a gift. And then anything that you find out, this is something different that we want to do. And this is where hopefully you guys are going to buy in and do this for us. If not, then Pastor Phil says, I quit. He just said he quits. I'm just kidding. He's not quitting. Y'all are like, what? He said he's moving to Mexico. He's done. No, just on the back of the connection card, after you get their information, whoever, if you're the person that makes contact with them, I want you, or we want you to be personally responsible for that person. So on the back of it, any questions you find, if you find out that their favorite football team is the 49ers, we'll just go with a professional team. We won't talk college right now. I forgot to tell you guys, all my Clemson students, you can't be in hostile territory down here, okay? So you got to be careful what you say. In Clemson, I can say whatever I want to. But down here, you got to be careful, because I know some of you are Gamecock fans. You find out their favorite football team. Write down what their favorite football team is, so that when, if it's somebody that's at the campus that I'm at that day, I want to send them a card, and I want to say, if I find out they're a Clemson fan, I'm going to be like, I'm going to write "Go Tigers" on the bottom of it, or something like that. But again, that's just making a good first impression, because you're finding stuff out. Write that down, and also write your name on the card as the contact. Can you do that? Now, well, I'll tell you about that in a second, sorry. During the service, ushers, we're going to have a separate training for you guys. Oh, I get to talk about that now. I got that in my notes to talk about now. Danny, what'd you say? I'm sorry, I forgot. You guys have a board meeting at the end of this month.
17th?
Yes, sir. At the end of this month.
Second week of August, first week or second week of August.
So you guys, the board, they're going to talk about some things. Tom, everybody wave at Tom. This is Tom. Tom wave at him. If you guys don't know Tom, this is Tom Wade. Tom we sat down and talked, what was that, a couple of days ago, but the Holy Spirit was speaking to Tom about some things. Tom he was a policeman, he was in the military, he works for a security company now, and the Holy Spirit was just really speaking to him. He said about security, or we can't call it security, but the safety team at our church, and spoke to him, and he didn't say anything, I don't think, then. You can tell them more about it in the safety meeting then. But then a little while later, the thing in Charleston happened. And then something else happened. But it was all confirmation, so he went and he talked to my dad, he's talked to me. And Tom he's just going to jump in and try and do some stuff to improve our safety team. So you guys that are on the safety team, ushers, we're going to have a separate training for you just for that stuff. That's going to be sometime in August after they meet, the board's going to meet. And Tom and my dad are going to talk to the board about everything. Make sure you guys are all squared away, and then they're going to talk about that. But in the middle of the service, the best thing to do is to take care of stuff beforehand. You know, if we can cut stuff off, it's a lot easier that way than it is if we have to do it in the middle of the service. So you guys will talk about that later. But you guys that are greeters, if there's somebody like at the Clemson campus, we have a guy with special needs. I know it's the other campus. We've had some people that were special needs. They're adults, but they have this one guy has the mentality of an 11-year-old kid, basically, maybe younger than that, 10, 11-year-old. And I have some guys in the church. I don't publicize it or say it from the pulpit, but I've got a couple of guys that they watch him for me because I can't. I'm up there preaching. I can't do that. So, but that's something that we take care of beforehand rather than having to deal with it in the middle of the service. So, ushers, make sure the greeters and make sure you guys are taking care of stuff beforehand so that you don't have to do it in the middle of the service. It makes life easier for you. All right, this is the last thing. Everybody say last thing. Last thing. That pasta's kicking in. must have tryptophan in it. That wasn't chicken in that white pasta, whatever it was. That was turkey. Tryptophan. Out the door. As the service is ending, here's what we want you to do. You ready? This is not rocket science. You do not have to go to rocket ship, I promise. I tell my little teams that all the time. We just want you to go back where you were. So if you're in the parking lot, go back to the parking lot. If you're at the doors, go back to the doors. And this is all you have to do. The same thing they do at Disney when you're leaving, because they're so glad to go home. I'm glad to go home too after services sometime, aren't y'all? At Disney, they all wave, they say goodbye, we'll see you again soon. That's all you gotta do, okay? Just tell them bye. Make sure if there's somebody leaving us, a newcomer, make sure that we did what? Got their information. Make sure that we got their information. And this is one of the more important things that I'm asking. Along with you write your name if you're the first contact. Making sure that we follow up with people. We follow up with people as a pastoral staff, but it's getting to where we're going to die if we follow up with everybody ourselves. We're going to kill ourselves. I don't work as hard, and Pastor Brad doesn't work as hard, but my dad does. All right, he'll work himself to death. He will. We won't. We're smarter than that. But we're lazy. We're lazy, but my dad is not lazy. There's one thing I can say, if you ask me anything, remember, Jordan doesn't say nice things about you, did he, like this? So I think it's time to redo the wheel. I can say, you know what, you might say, yes, T.D. Jakes can really preach a good sermon. I think my dad preaches a good sermon, but more important than that, my pastor and my dad is a man of integrity. Yes. I don't have to worry about stupid stuff like a lot of people have to worry about their pastors. All right? I don't have to worry about it because he's a man of integrity. He says he's going to do something, he does it. He keeps his word, and I don't have to worry about him doing stupid stuff. That would be embarrassing for my pastor, and he's my dad, but I don't have to worry about it. A lot of them, y'all know I'm talking, people have to worry about stuff like that now. I don't have to worry about that because my pastor's a man of integrity. I also don't have to worry about his work ethic because I lived with him for however many years I lived with him. And we woke up on Saturday mornings and we had to wash cars and cut grass and all that because that's what you did on Saturdays. You didn't get to sleep, Gavin. Well, look, seriously. We're getting to the point that if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to work himself to death. All right? And I want my inheritance, but I don't want it right now. Right. So, serious. Here's what I'm asking. And another thing is, when I call somebody, or I send a card to somebody, or send an email, or I text somebody, when the pastor does it, that used to be cool. Like, 50 years ago, everybody's like, oh yeah, come knock on my door. Most people don't want that now. And when the pastor does it, they're like, he's got my number. But if just somebody that they met, that hopefully they've made a little bit of a relationship with, that person contacts them, then to me, that's better than somebody that they think is supposed to do it and has to do it, does it. Somebody that just does it because they're nice, because they really are a child of God, because they're really friendly. So if you make contact with somebody, you're the primary contact person, you write your name on the back of their card. Did you know that, this is percentages, okay? I love statistics. Statistics are cool. That a person that comes to a church for the first time, if somebody from that church, a person from that church, contacts them on that day, that they are 90% of those people will return to that church. 90%. If they're contacted that day by somebody. So if you, this is crazy. This is crazy, okay? But I'm crazy. If you, let's say I go to church for the first time, Jim is a greeter at the South Campus, wherever you are that day. Jim meets me, he writes his name on my connection card. Jim, you get, if they leave a phone number, you get that phone number. If it's not a phone number, if it's just an email, whatever it is. Jim, if you can try and call that person that day, just call and say, hey, my name's Jim, I met you at church today. It was great having you. Just want to let you know, I hope to see you again next week. If you have any questions, give me a call. Whatever. You don't have to do it exactly like that, whatever. That person, 90% of people that are contacted like that will return. Within 24 hours, it drops to 60%. So that's what we normally do is we'll send out cards. I love email because email's quick. Text, email something. But within 24 hours, it drops to 60%. So what we're going to do is, if you're the primary contact person, if you could just take that one person's phone number, their whatever that you can get from them, and if you could just contact them that day. I'm not going to check up on you and make sure that you did it that day, and if you didn't, I'm not going to have somebody tase you or anything, or cut you, but just think, if you could, 90%, that blew my mind. I read that, I was like, man, that was crazy. I looked at it, I found it in another book, they said the same thing. It drops to 60% within 24 hours. But what we'll do is we're going to have, hopefully I've got all your email addresses. On that Monday morning, we're going to send an email out to everybody. So you guys from the Central Clemson campus, all the first time and the second timers that we get, if we get information from them, which hopefully we will get their information. I'm going to brainwash you before you leave. We'll get their information. We'll send out an email on that Monday to everybody at the Central campus and say, hey, Bob, Jimmy, and Sue for first timers. Here's their email address. If you get a chance, just send them an email. But that primary contact is going to be hopefully the person that's going to make those 90% of people come back. All right? If you don't want to do it, don't tell me because it'll just discourage me and I'll feel terrible. That's pretty much all of that. This packet that you have with the staple in it, we're not going to go through this whole thing. Our First Impressions Ministry, this is our purpose or whatever. Creating an atmosphere of warmth and welcome, providing a safe environment for people to take their next step toward Christ. In this, we have one thing that I do need is at each campus and at each service, we already have a few people in place, but a point person. And so in the checklist and all that's in there, you guys can go through and look at all that later because I'm not going to keep you much longer. And Pastor Phil is going to close. See what I did there? It was just me and you guys. In that packet, there's checklists. There are all those different things for the greeters and for the ushers. We do need, if you are a person that's really good at doing schedules, what we need is one person, at least for each campus, to do the schedules for. We've got different people doing schedules right now, and I think most of them don't want to do it anyway. They're like, at least not. But hopefully, maybe one of those people that are already doing one of the schedules can do it. If you're the kind of person that likes administrative stuff like that, I hate it. I can't stand it. I don't want to do it. So that's why I'm asking you to do it, so that I don't have to do it. Because if I do it, it's just going to be terrible. It's going to be a chalkboard with pieces of paper and sticky notes, and it's going to look terrible. All right, so that's why I'm asking you, at your campus, if you could be the person that can go through and do the schedule for the safety and all the way, actually, hopefully we can get them all together on one schedule, so we'll have it with all different people. And then if you want to be a point person, we already have a few people that are head ushers, and a point person, all a point person is going to do is you'll be the person that collects all the cards from everybody, just kind of make sure everything's running smoothly. A liaison, and that's what you are. Is that a good word? Yes. You'll be our liaison to people. That sounds powerful, doesn't it? The liaison. Somebody's going, I want to be the liaison. That's me. That, I believe, is all that I have for you. You go through the things, look at that packet. It's got the team vision, name, go get your name tag, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. It's got pre-service, post-service stuff for the different things. You want to start making your way up here, Pastor Danny, Phil, Pastor Phil. Pastor Phil, Pastor Dad.
No, Pastor Jeremy.
That's why going to his church.
It's your church. It's all one
One church, 3 locations, 4 services. That's your last chance.
That's your final warning. Hey, this is what I told them a couple of Sundays at the Central Clemson campus. Because, when new people come in, you're like, hey, we're here, but we're also, in Anderson, and so if you're around there, go there. There are some churches that are really big, and I would say they're like the Walmart of churches. They're a lot of different places. Freedom Center is like the Dollar General of churches. That's what right? We're going to have one on every corner, all right? You can't go nowhere without finding a Dollar General. So, Father, just know that one day, when you make that final trip to heaven, your final destination, and Pastor Brad and I are left in charge. That's going to be changing the slogan. We're actually going to put it on the side. We're the Dollar General of churches.
George Jefferson, 12 dry cleaners, one close to you. Jimmy did a great job. Give him another hand. He covered everything. If I could just highlight a couple of things. Number one, we're all ministers. That means if somebody needs ministering to, we all have that opportunity. You don't have to hunt somebody down to pray with them. All of us are people of God. Amen. All of us believe in prayer. So that's the number one thing. More than even getting information is people are ministered to, but then information is the next thing. Always. Please feel free to pray. Don't prophesy. Don't knock them down. Just minister to them real quietly and neatly. Second thing is what I see. We are a family. Amen. We are a family. That's the way. That's the way I wanted it. I asked the Lord to let me do that because that's what I grew up in. Was a family church. Everybody could spank me in the church and take care of me in the church. That's what it was. The challenge with that is this: we get a little cliquish. Okay, and the hardest thing, if you guys could figure this out, I would love for you to tell me how to do it. The hardest thing to do is to move our close friends on into the sanctuary without them standing in front of the door being in the way. I don't know how to do it. And then the second thing is, we always want to give our opinion, and Jimmy's already covered that. If they got an ugly dress on, just say, oh, it's a nice dress. If it's an ugly baby, you don't have to say that. Just say, oh, it's a baby. That's all you got to say. You don't have to say it's a pretty baby because that would be lying. Just say, oh, it's a baby. They don't want to know our opinion. All right? Another thing, I already messed this whole thing up.
No, I was just going to say, this is what I do. You never know what you're going to see when you look in the carrier. So you just got to be careful. When you go to look in the carrier, you got to just like this. Smile. And look. But when you look in, don't go. Oh. Woo. Go back. Don't do that.
So we're all ministers. I'm going to talk just a second about safety in just a minute, but we're also all safety as far as keeping our eyes open. I've had people, not just recently, but all along, say, oh, you don't have security in place, you don't have this in place, or who's what, and I've had people that are concerned, and now even more so. So if you do see something just a little bit off kilter, and I'm not talking about the ugly baby, I'm talking about something off kilter, always know who our safety team is in charge that day, and just go mention to them. Don't everybody, now this is what's going to happen. No. And then we have a lot of people with CWPs. That's great, but idiots can get CWPs. Is that right? CWPs is what it's called? But we're going to do more training. Tom's going to help us with that. We're going to offer training for everybody for safety in the home and in the church, in the workplace, to keep your eyes open, even some about your guns. Those of you who have CWPs can just step above that. And then out of that, we're going to look at those who have that calling to be safety, to where nobody knows their safety, but they're in place everywhere. And that's where we headed with that, okay? And then after we do that, people who get CWPs are supposed to ask me, is it okay to carry a gun? After we get all of our safety team in place, then they will be the only ones, now I ain't going to tell you this and hold the church, this is just you guys, that will be carrying at that point and in a particular place at all three of our campuses like that. So that way we won't have somebody come in and somebody look dangerous and 20 guns come out and I'm not even going to touch that. And this is the last thing I'm going to do. I'm doing the negative part because he does the positive part. I see it at the South Campus a lot. We got our good old boy hangout where everybody just hangs around the Welcome Center desk. And people have to break through to get through the crowd. Guys, if you're not on duty that day, yes, we're still greeters and we're still ushers and we're still safety team, keeping our eyes open, make sure everybody's happy, but it should be done in the sanctuary. You can stand up in the sanctuary, you can talk in the sanctuary, of course, until the celebration starts, but at least try to get people through the door, and let's not just hanging around and go, now don't say, get out of the way! But there's just ways to help usher people into the ministry, and the best way is like Pat does. He gives me a tour, and I was the pastor. I didn't look at the building and everything. He didn't know it. I said, well, I'm Phil. I said, Phil. He said, Phil, oh, you Pastor Jeremy's dad. Pastor Phil. I said, yeah. He said, let me show you where the bathroom's at. I thought, am I that old? Do you have the pins? Can I have one? And then he said, here's the coffee. I'm serious. He just took it on a tour like that. That's that homey feeling. You know, that's a homey feeling. But we will be working on schedules. That is the main thing we need right now is someone who has that gifting. We have, the last thing I want to do because we got to go. This is it. I have seen ushers backslide. Ushers and soundmen and nursery workers are the three most high statistically backslide. Reason is, we have some people who are on the usher team, greeter team, and safety team, and they never get to be in the worship team. We've got people who will watch over our nurseries all the time because we can't get enough help, and they gradually backslide. I've had just in the recent 6 months, I've had 2 families who basically got colder and colder, and they don't go to church anymore now because they stayed in the nursery all the time. All the time. And it's the same thing with ushers. Guys, if you're not serving that day, you need to be in a worship service. None of us are that spiritual that I'm not talking about our preaching. I'm talking about being in the family. Being a part of the family. So please be careful. If you're always in ministry, if you're always doing something and not in the ministry with everybody else, it's a dangerous thing. And I know your heart. We did personality tests a good while back, and 95% of our faith family are servants. They didn't say they're leaders. The way they tested, they're not leaders. They're servants. And I like that. I'd rather have a church full of servants instead of a church of a bunch of leaders and everybody leading in different directions. Amen. And that's your heart right there. And I appreciate that. Does anybody have any quick questions or anything that you just need to know tonight before we go? I want to bless you. We're going to get more watermelon in there. You got to take that with you because I don't need too much of it. Anything at all? Second week in August, anybody's been welcome to come to that. We're going to be just talking about general safety, and then out of that, we'll be looking and seeing those who what would be the word?
Ninja skills.
Huh?
Ninja skills.
Ninja skills. Ninja warriors. No, just those who would feel called to be in the safety part of this, and which again, all of us are part of that. Appreciate you coming tonight. Anything else, Pastor Jeremy? Pastor Brad, you okay? So he's filming this. All right. Stand with me if you would. I'm going to bless you. Can we just thank God for His goodness first before I bless you? Come on, just yes. Give a word of that verse. Hallelujah. Before we look, guys, these are people wanting to minister. And what some would consider, the easiest or most consider the hardest part because it's such loyalty and stuff like that goes into this. This is exciting what God's about to do. I believe we're about to move to a new level that we've never been before. And it's important that we do what God's called.